Hello everyone, this is SIVAGAMI from SNS College of Engineering. As I'm an assistant professor in the Department of Information Technology, here we are going to learn about the topic is resource allocation in software project management. Let's see the topic. First, here we have to observe the what given in the image, what the image implies. You just listen what the image or implies. Okay. The important topics are resource allocation. The resource allocation and then the steps the resource allocation involves. What are the steps to allocate the resource allocation? What going to the resources are involves. Okay, resource involves. Resource allocation closely linked with the activity plan. The resource allocation is closely linked with the activity plan. Allocation of resources to activities may lead to modify the activity plans. Allocation of resources to activities may lead to modify the activity plans. May involve revise of the project completion data. May involves revise of project completion of data. Then the steps are given below. Identify the resources, make the demand for the resources. First we are going to identify the resources and then make the demand for the resources. Produce work plan resources schedule. Resource allocation involves an activity schedules. The resource allocation involves an activity schedule, resource schedule, and then the cost schedule. The resource allocation involves an activity schedule, resource schedule, and then the cost schedule. The nature of resource categories. Here I given the nature of the resource categories. Nature of resource categories are, first one is labor, and then the equipments, the next one is materials, the space, services, time, and money. The nature of resources categories are given below: labor, equipment, materials, space, services, time, and money. The other factors also are given. Identify the resources requirements, scheduling the resources. Identify the resource requirements and then scheduling the resources. The first method going to use the critical path, creating critical path. The first method, we going to use creating critical path. Scheduling resources, create a new critical path. Scheduling the resources, create new critical paths. Delaying the start of activity because of lagging of resources. Delaying the start of activity because of lagging of resources will cause that activity becomes critical. Delay in completing one activity can delay availability of resources required for later activities. Delay in completing one activity can delay availability of resources required for later activities. Okay, if later one is already critical, when earlier one might now have been made critical. If later one is already critical, then early one might now have been made critical. Resource allocation. I give a picture for chart for a resource allocation. You just go through it. And then the next is cost scheduling. Involve weekly or monthly cost schedules for project life cycle. Involves weekly or monthly cost schedules for the project life cycle. Staff costs, staff salaries, social security funds, persons schemes, holiday pay, sickness benefits. Okay, overheads. The overheads or expenditure incurs which cannot directly related to involved projects or jobs, including space rental, investing rates, cost of the service departments, usage changes. Projects are directly changed for use of the resources such as the computer time as used base. The scheduling sequence. Here I give a scheduling sequence. First one, activity plan. The next one, the risk assessment. The third one, resource allocation. The next one is schedule. And then the final one is the cost scheduling. Thank you everyone.